Hello and welcome back to goldstocktrades.com. Today we have a new and special guest to our network, Donald McInnes. Donald is chairman of SUNM.V, which can be traded as SUNM on the TSX Venture. Drilling right now, a very interesting project up in British Columbia. But before we get into that discussion, Donald, I've known about your group now for more than a decade, and many of my subscribers have known through the success of Frontier Gold. I would like for you to highlight your group and what you have been able to accomplish for your shareholders over the past several years.
Oh, thanks, Jeb. Listen, all of this stuff, natural resource investing, it all comes down to being able to make people money. And you can only do that with a great team of people, with good projects. And I think our group has proven time and time again that we've got that in spades. If you are successful once, I would call it some pretty good business acumen and a lot of luck. If you can do that twice, a little less luck and a lot of business acumen. We've in fact done this over 4 times. And in mining, we had our first big win as a collective group on the sale of Frontier Gold to Newmont for $2.3 billion. We also had a huge win in selling Aurora Energy to Paladin. We've had a huge win in the creation of and sale of True Gold Mining to Endeavour. We also did this with a private company called True North Nickel. And then, so this is all in the context of Oxygen Capital, where my partners and I, with Mark O'Day and Sean Tetzlaff, we've created these companies around good ideas. And today there's 4 companies in the group, and we'll touch on those in a moment. And then outside of mining in my own career, before I partnered with Mark, I had created a company called Western Celtic Mines that was developing a copper deposit in northern British Columbia that was bought by Sherwood Copper. And I had created British Columbia's largest clean energy company, Plutonic Power. And we had invested $1.1 billion in some clean energy assets in the province. So I think our group has had a tremendous track record of success. If I include my non-oxygen things with oxygen, we have raised well in excess of $2 billion of debt and equity and monetized those various companies for well over $4 billion of financial gains for our shareholders. So we love what we do. We're passionate about it. We love recruiting and mentoring young people into our team and teams to create value for people. And we find we end up with tremendous deal flow, which gives us the opportunity to be very selective in the projects we work on. And we're kind of formulaic about what we do in finding these assets to build teams and companies around them. And you know, one of our logos or mottos is the science of discovery, and it's not just the discovery, it's the science of it and making all these things work in harmony to create shareholder value, Jeb.
Yeah, and you know, last year it was a tough mining market, and this new company, SUNM.V, which you are chair of, did some incredible work. Can you talk to us about the creation of SUNM.V and the work that you've done up to Stardust to this point? I mean, which has been especially the drill hole, the discovery back in 2018, and the investment of tech that came in afterwards. So if you could just highlight the formation and what you've done up to this point with Stardust, which has been incredible.
Sure. So start with the formation of the company. The first thing that has to happen when you do this is you have to find a good project. And we did find a fantastic project in central British Columbia that's road accessible. We find British Columbia to be a fabulous jurisdiction with a very mining-friendly government, and we can talk about the things the government has been doing to encourage the industry in a moment. But we had a fantastic project with a lot of history, over $25 million of historical work, over 400 drill holes. And what we found was this gem of an opportunity that hadn't been brought into modern times. So we had 400 drill holes of results, almost a 3 million ton existing copper resource that nobody had looked at properly for over 20 years. It's almost like it was lost in time. And we took all of that historical work and we put it into a computerized database to help us figure out what we wanted to do with the project. After we had an agreement to buy the project, Mark and I and Sean and a few close friends, we put in $1.3 million of our own money, and we recruited Steve Robertson to run the company. Steve's had a career in British Columbia, including drilling the kilometer-long drill hole at Red Chris, which was the significant game changer there. And that was a kilometer, 1,070 meters, I think it was exactly, of 1% copper with 1 gram gold. And this all comes down to people. So we had our own people, our team. We recruited Steve to build a team for us around this fabulous project called Stardust. And we then raised $6.5 million at a quarter, again, with some wonderful financial supporters of ours. And then we went public in May of 2018. We immediately embarked on a big drill program. We drilled 23 holes, I think it was, in 2018. And by using good science, we ended up following up the existing copper resource that was on the project, and we had this 100-meter intercept of almost 5% copper equivalent. And it was very exciting. And the deposit style here is called a carbonate replacement deposit. Peter McGaw, the creator of Mag Silver, the technical brains behind that, is an advisor to SUNM.V, and he has helped us with the project, and he's just in awe of what this hole was. It was probably the best copper drill hole in Canada in 2018. So the fun part was this hole obviously attracted a lot of attention, and we were able to bring in Teck, a diversified Canadian mining company. We were able to bring in Teck as a financial partner, and we did some financial engineering, which is all part of being good at this business. And Teck bought a 14% interest in the company, and they paid a 25% premium to market. So our stock was trading around 22 cents. Teck paid 28 cents and invested, that allowed us to raise $5.2 million. So we have Teck as a significant shareholder. The company was fully financed at that point coming into 2019 for a significant drill program to follow up that tremendous drill hole from the 2018 campaign, which was 100 meters of 5% copper equivalent gem.
And I saw that you had news in early June that you started the commencement of drilling. So talk to us about this program and what makes you so excited for this year for Sun Metals.
So the first thing is the project's in central British Columbia. You can get there by car. We're halfway in between Mount Milligan and Kamess, so we call this mining country. And in fact, when you think about building a mine, this would be an ideal place. We're only 4 hours from Prince George, a city of 100,000 people. So you can go to Prince George and get any supplies you need, but you're far enough away from Prince George that you're not in the backyard of someone. Now, we are in the traditional territory of the Takla Nation, and they are very resourceful people. We love working with Takla. It's their traditional territory. We have an exploration agreement with them. And the Takla Nation is led by Chief John French, who is a logger, been a logger for most of his career. So they're into natural resource development. So we are there. You can explore on a year-round basis. Snowfall is moderate, only 5 feet a year. So we love that about the Stardust project. You can go there and work year-round. We had, however, abandoned the camp at the end of last year when the snow started flying, and instead of spending the money to start a drilling program in the middle of winter, we opted to wait for spring. And this was a late year, so we got our drills and equipment into the field in May, and drilling commenced shortly thereafter, and we now have 2 rigs on site. We've got over 30 people in the bush working on this year's program, and we expect they'll be there for many, many months. And with a little bit of luck and some good science, we'll be there on a year-round basis going forward, Jeff.
Well, it's an exciting time for Sun Metals, and when I introduce the company and highlight the company, some concerns that I get are about the jurisdiction and many investors don't realize all the recent good news that's happened in British Columbia and the mines that are operating. I was wondering if you could give us an update on BC, British Columbia, as a mining jurisdiction and why it's attracting interest from the major mining producers.
Sure. So, a quick update for your listeners on what's going on. A couple of big things. Newmont, a year ago, bought into the Galore Creek project, and they are spending $275 million to become a 50-50 partner with Teck at Galore Creek, which is a 8 million ounce gold, 9 billion pound copper deposit. So they have done their due diligence, and they feel, I think, because they're investing $275 million to buy their interest, that British Columbia is a great place to be. Additionally, you've had Newcrest this year spend $1.1 billion to buy 70% of the existing Red Chris mine in northern BC. So you've got two of the world's biggest companies investing significant dollars in buying opportunities in British Columbia. We've also had South 32 open an office in Vancouver. So again, another tremendous endorsement for British Columbia when a company the size of South 32 is coming here. Additionally, the government has made two programs permanent that were one-year renewals, and that's the flow-through share program and the mining tax credit program. So the current government has made those programs permanent. Additionally, the government of British Columbia just came back from London, England, on an investment trade mission, accompanied by and supported by two of the bigger First Nations in the province, the Tahltan and Nisga'a. So you've got, again, some tremendous cooperation of governments, both Aboriginal and traditional, working together to try to attract investment to British Columbia. So we're very bullish on the province. You've got tremendous infrastructure in British Columbia. The government in 2014 finished a $775 million investment to build a power line into northern British Columbia that cost $750 million. And this, again, was to facilitate economic development through natural resource development. So mining and forestry are core to the economy and fabric of life in British Columbia, and this current government supports these things. In fact, they've made some significant tax enhancements that's resulted in the largest single private sector investment ever to be made in the history of British Columbia and in Canada, and that was changing the tax regime that put the Shell-led consortium over the top on making the $40 billion investment decision for the liquefied natural gas project in Kitimat. So there's a lot of different things going on here, Jeb, that the investing public should be aware of and feel very good about British Columbia as a jurisdiction. And to sum it up, the Mining Journal of London, for the second year in a row, has scored British Columbia the least risky jurisdiction in the world, basically because of our mining code. So legislation, laws, rules in British Columbia make this the safest place in the world from a risk perspective based on our mining code. So these are all things that we as risk takers and investors look at when we assess a jurisdiction. And you have to look at the rules of the rule of law in a jurisdiction before you look at geological endowment and opportunity. And British Columbia obviously is passing these tests for Newmont, Newcrest, South 32, and others who are building a presence in BC.
Today we have with us Donald McInnes, chairman of Sun Metals, which can be traded as SUNM on the TSX Venture. You can get more information by going to the website sunmetals.ca to get more information on the project and the news. Make sure to subscribe to their email list so that you can get the timely information. Donald, before we leave, is there anything that's unique? There's so many things unique, but maybe you could just highlight that one more time, the unique aspects of Sun Metals.
So a few salient summary points. First, jurisdiction is fabulous from a legal perspective, rule of law perspective. Second, you can drive to the project. So exploration costs are as low as they're going to get. No helicopters, aircraft involved. Third, grade is always king, and we have high-grade copper here. We've got high-grade zinc. We've got high-grade gold. Fourth, people. Our people have a track record of wealth creation, and we've done it time and time again. So this isn't luck. This is by design. Our team is fabulous at finding good opportunities and creating wealth for our shareholders. And fifth, timing. We have sat through winter, and we now have 2 drills turning at the project, and we expect results to start coming out in late July. So for investors interested in participating in our future, we're a month away, a little more than a month away from drilling results coming out, which are following up on the best copper drill hole from 2018. So we've got a lot of catalyst events and good news stories around this, Jeb, that people should be gravitating to.